Hi, Abhinav. Good evening. How are you doing today?
Good evening, good evening. I'm doing good. How about you?
All very well. Thank you so much for joining in today. Wonderful score there, 98th percentile, GMAT 695. So we're looking at your performance by section. You've got a quant 95th percentile and a verbal 76th percentile and data inside 96th percentile. So big
Yeah,
congratulations there, Abhinav. You've at least crossed the 95th, 96th percentile range. So how do you feel about the score?
I do feel good about it, but I feel that I could have done better.
Yeah.
That is,
In
yeah,
what section is it in verbal?
yeah. I could have done better in verbal. And actually, the thing is, I while attempting the quant, so I like realized that I didn't make any mistake as of that, but not sure where the 2 marks. Like I left those 2 marks. Yeah.
Right. So, but obviously you have the performance by section. Now, when you look
Yes.
back, you would know how many questions you've got wrong, right? So,
Mhm.
okay, to kick things off for this particular conversation, could you just share a bit about yourself, about how did it all start? What kind of sparked you to get to this GMAT, get to this MBA journey, and then how did you get into top 1%?
Sure, sure. So I'm Abhinav Jain, and currently I'm working as a product manager with Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India.
Right,
Like I graduated and I completed my engineering from NSIT Delhi in
right,
2020. So
right,
I have around 4 years of experience working, and like to get into the MBA journey and everything. So I feel like to when we grow in career, so MBA like understanding the management skills and getting like a tag attached to our profile becomes like a requirement more than like it's a necessity. So I feel like, and hence I opted for this journey and I began like traveling on that with top
right.
1%.
Right. So more into your preparation journey per se, or preparation experience with top 1%. So imagine
Mhm.
you're painting a picture. Can you give us all the detailed walkthrough of your GMAT preparation from the very first step to final, let's say a full picture that you see, right? So that is
Yeah.
a 695 score, especially with the preparation mode. What worked, what section was more challenging, and how did you overcome with material, with videos or mocks, anything that played a role?
So the thing is that I started this preparation first of all as a backup to like I was preparing for civil services and I cleared prelims last year.
Oh,
So
wow.
I appeared for mains, and like while I was waiting for the results of mains, so I started preparing at that particular point of time.
Okay.
But also I was working as well. So the thing is that I started this journey like a little early, like around a year ago, but a lot of procrastination, a lot of things like kept on happening like along with the journey in during this journey. But then I realized that to get the things done, I have to just decide on and like get it done whatsoever the thing be.
Right.
So it is like I started 2 months back with a full focus thing where I requested top 1% to like renew. Like earlier, I started preparing for Classic Edition. Then I migrated to this Focus Edition because Classic not being in the picture anymore. So I started preparing for this 2 months into this, like 1 month into deep preparation and 1 month into appearing for mocks and sectional tests, many mocks like I appeared for.
Right.
And so, and at the end of 2 months, the result is in front of me.
Right. So, see, everybody has a lot of hurdles, be it in quant or verbal. What was your challenging section when you started off? And uh,
Mhm.
if it is any particular section you wanted to highlight, what did you do especially to improve on those section? What particular materials that you chose?
Yeah, sure. So, like quant, I think I didn't face any like big hurdle like doing so because coming from an engineering background.
Right.
So quant was like not like though I like appeared gave like a lot of sectional tests and lot of tests for quant as well. But the thing is that I didn't have to prepare a lot about quant. It's more about appearing into the test and like solving more and more of questions there. For verbal, I think I faced some challenge out there. And initially I remember when I started, so it was like was getting around 20% of the things getting correct,
Right.
but ultimately it translated into something around 90% getting correct. Yeah, and DI, I believe that DI had a lot of fluctuations in my preparation. So when I started preparing DI, I was doing good, but during the course of preparation, I saw like I was like performing like not really well in DI. But ultimately, I like devoted more of attention, more of focus towards it, and it did well for me.
Right.
If you see in the percentile metrics, so DI is like the best thing that
Interesting.
turned out to be. Yeah.
So, you did mention that you were preparing for UPSC, and then you also mentioned that you took up GMAT as as something in the last 2 months of your preparation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
one of the things that it is probably easy to assume that the strenuous effort that goes in the UPSC, especially the long hours, did you kind of put that long hours into GMAT? Which 2 months is, relatively you see 1 year when you started, and then within 2 months of focus edition preparation, really led you there. So would you be able to describe how did you design your entire study plan
Yeah.
in the last 2 months?
So like as I said, like in last 2 months as well. So I am like working full time along with this. So I didn't take a break or anything for the preparation or anything.
Right.
So it is like after working hours, I like got to my study table, studying till like late in night. Then again, we have our office timings in the morning. Then
Right.
on the weekends, like devoting a lot of time towards the study. Like I remember, like I was since also while preparing for, as you mentioned, UPSS, as while preparing for civil services as well, I was used to this schedule because like that for civil services as well, I was like preparing while working only. So the thing is that I use the same trick, same methodology here as well. The thing is, I would like to mention why it got delayed a lot is I just got out of the UPSC hang up. So was not able to like focus a lot into studies and everything. But yeah, then when I decided that I had to get it done, so just
So
use the same
roughly how
method.
many hours would you give it? Like how many hours did you dedicate every day?
So on a weekday, you can like safely assume around 4 to 5 hours, and on weekend it would be like 10 to 12 hours a day.
Wow. So, and how did you mentioned balancing your work commitments, you never took a day off.
Yeah, yeah.
Was that even challenging any day in the last 2 months? Did you suddenly see that the work also increased? Or did you just take a bet that नहीं इतना तो शायद कर सकते हैं types?
So like that usually happens when we try to meet the two ends. Like you have to meet the work commitment, also you have to meet your personal commitment towards like studies as well.
Right.
So at times it feels like a little frustrating as well. That sometimes it feels like quitting. Nahi ho raha, like let's focus on one thing. But the thing is, you gear up yourself, you get into that mode. Again, I would like to mention that my journey to in the civil services helped me a lot to get into that mind frame that this is something that can be done and has been done in past by me, so we can like do that as well. Yeah.
Right. So, in verbal, you mentioned that you slowly overcame the challenges, especially. But is there something that really stood out in terms of the learning? Like, did you take up some of the extra, session that Sandeep sir says, especially for RC awareness or marathon series? Did you study or touch base or long sittings in the portal? Did you touch base on all of these?
Yeah, so like I watched all the RC awareness sessions that Sandeep sir has recommended to.
Right.
Actually, I would like the Know the World series that he often recommends. So as he mentions this rightly, that it is not just about studying for GMAT, it is like grasping a broader learning towards the life. So I would like really recommend that. And also that helps with the RC really a lot. Also, since you asked how I improved over that. So basically, I realized that the key to getting there is just practice, practice, and practice. The more we practice, the more we like. So it is one way of learning is to like read it through the books, learn through the lectures and everything. And the other way of doing it is like through practice and everything. So I realize more on towards the practice part.
So the reason why I'm asking you this question especially is that when you've prepared for UPSC or
Mhm.
आपको इतना you had to study so much. There's so much to read, And when it's know the world is essentially that itself, but a lot connected. There's a lot of connecting the dots, right? So and obviously there's a lot of knowledge again, but there is also a relevancy ki kyun pad rahe ho, why are you studying, what is it, how will it benefit here, how will it benefit everywhere else, right? So Sandeep sir has this knack of bringing back the context. Why is this information? So if you have to take give your take on Know the World versus UPSC May, what would that be? Do you have?
So I really if someone who is like preparing for civil services, if he or she watches this, he would like totally agree with me that while preparing for civil services, it is like the same. You have to like connect the dots everywhere. So while in mains, we have to write nine exams are there, nine written exams. So like out of GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, you have to like make all the connections. Polity is connected to geography in some way. Geography is connected to history in some way, and everything connects. And just preparing a big picture out there. So same happens with Know the World, as you mentioned as well. That connecting the dots, like how one thing overflows into other, and has like a retrospective effect on the other part as well. So yeah, similar to that.
Yeah, but then here Sandeep sir is doing all that to you.
Yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah.
putting it you on the plate. So that becomes a different experience altogether.
Certainly, certainly.
So, over to the exam experience. Just before the exam, so would
Mhm.
you be able to tell me how, like, because it's just a short preparation, although it seems very long since you
Yeah.
started, but just 2 months is really a short span of time. How did you then transition from exam experience from the preparation mode to the exam experience? There's a midway, which is practice, which is giving
Yeah.
mocks. How many mocks have you seen yourself giving? And when you initially gave your first mock, what was your score? And which mock did you give?
So yeah. So first sectional mock that I appeared on the tops portal. So I scored around 565, I guess.
Yeah,
And that is like around a month ago, exactly a month ago,
right,
the real exam. And then I can like, as you asked how many mocks I gave, so I exhausted all the mocks from quant section. Like I think I exhausted all the mocks from the sectional part. I appeared in some 4 or 5 full tests
right,
out of 9 that are there. Then I appeared in the 2 official mock tests.
right.
That is just before the exam, like
Yeah.
two, like on a span of like 4 days. I appeared in both the official mock tests just to get into the hang of the exam. Yeah. So this is like if I like accumulate everything, so I think times mock test would be somewhere around 25, I guess. Yeah.
Right, right. So, when did you actually you gave your mocks and then decided to, take the exam, or did you first only decide the exam date and then you went with the preparation? What was that?
So while getting the things delayed, so I realized that preparation is never going to end.
Right,
So every time you feel like that, let's give the exam, it feels like nahi, abhi thoda aur can be done.
right.
So to overcome that challenge, like I booked the exam, like I fixed a date, I booked the exam, and then I like reverse engineered everything and prepared in that direction.
Yeah, it could work for a lot of people, but a lot of people know you come from a background where you have gone to that full swing of studying in that crazy mode, right? Then that works for you. So, what was in the exam experience? So, what was the order of you choosing? What section did you choose? And why did you choose that section? And in through each of the section, if you could just tell us if you found any question that was unfamiliar, or did you run out of time, like pacing was the issue or anything like that happened?
So like I chose the order as quant I did first, then I did DI, then I did verbal. So verbal I kept last because I knew that it is not something of my, like I'm not very much, like it is not something where I hold some good command, but also like I knew that there would be a break also. So I timed it like let's complete the things that are like our stronghold, and then let's pivot to verbal. So that being the logic behind deciding the order. And quant, I like completed my entire quant section in 34 minutes. and then I like looked back to all the questions. That's why where it comes as a surprising challenge to me, that why is it not 100 percentile and a 95 percentile.
Right.
Also in DI, so DI actually, I when I started preparation, so when I was like giving up mocks, so I realized that DI is something that requires like a very quick thing, that you have to be very quick with, because the multi-source reasoning being like a very lengthy thing, because you have to like hop through the tables, decide on the things. Also sometimes the questions there are I remember in my exam I got a multi-source reasoning like that was very tricky. So to like, but the thing is, just from coming from the mock experience, I just went through the things very like quickly,
Right.
and I was also able to complete it like around 39 minutes. A DI section I was able to complete, and I looked back to one MSR question which I left initially to be like reviewed later, because I
Right.
think that was taking a lot of time. Verbal also, like verbal, I was able to review two CR questions that I mentioned, that I marked initially, and yeah.
Right, right. So now that you're on the other side, you have the score, the 695 popped up on your screen, and then within a couple of days, you got your score. Now you're like obviously looking to apply to a few schools. Maybe you've already applied to a few schools already. Have
No,
you
I'm not applied to and like any school really right now, but yeah, looking forward to.
looking forward to applying in round one itself? Is it? Is it so?
I think it would be round two right now, because it will take some time to like prepare the applications and everything.
Right, right. So, in if you had to summarize, if you could give a GMAT survival guide, right, based on your experience, what are the tips of do's and don'ts, or the list of do's and don'ts that you would say to any student who's starting right now?
For me, like first don't that I recommend from my journey is don't procrastinate.
Right,
If you have to give it, you have to give it. If you have decided to like walk that path, then sooner the better. And you can like roll up the things like quick fast out there. So just decide on a date, even if not blocking a calendar, not blocking a schedule, just decide on a mental date and stick to it. And maybe as reverse engineering works for me, like deciding a date and then deciding the schedule back would really help. So that would be a thing. And the key to like success is just practice, practice, and practice. The more you practice, the more you get a hang of the exam. And exam day becomes like a cakewalk, because it is something just like you are appearing on your screen, you are doing mock test on your screen. It's just like going to a center and appearing on the same thing.
right. So one last thing is that, in your opinion, how crucial was this, was a conducive study environment or the exam environment itself? Like, did you find something that was completely out of something that you did not experience before, or something that was new, or were you already familiar? Was there any shock element in the exam environment? Maybe just the UI of the exam, or even just a writing thing, anything that seems like.
So just a little difference that I felt is that here I use a trackpad and there I had to use a mouse to
Right.
like fill my choices. So that would be a difference. But since you mentioned UI and everything, so I think TOPS portal mentioned like a provide like a very familiar UI to the real exam, and also like I experienced the same while appearing for the official mock test as well. So yeah,
Right.
nothing major changes in terms of UI, just that a little thing that to shift from trackpad to the mouse.
Super, super. Any particular motivation or mentors, or support system, I would like to call, that you've had in through your entire journey that kept you going every
So
single day?
So I have this quote of Dr. Kalam pasted on my table, which is like a guiding force to me since like past 4 5 years, which says that like when you do anything, you just some goals are so worthy that even if you fail, you are like winning in some way or the other.
Right.
So some it like the entire quote goes like some goals are worthy enough. It is glorious even to fail.
Right.
So even if you fail, you are like learning a lot around this journey. So journey is the real end, and score just is like a part of the journey.
Right.
So take it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So glad that you shared all these insights. Definitely worthy of every insight that you said. Thank you so much for joining me today. And here's wishing all the very best. We are all proud. First of all, we're all of us from Top 1% and Sandeep Gupta. We're proud of what you've achieved. We're very thankful as well that you have chosen Top 1% as a part of this journey, at least. And you trusted Sir and his course to get there. And here's wishing you the very best that you get an admit. Hopefully by January, February, we'll see an admit in your name and we'll stay connected. Thank you again.
For sure, Natasha. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for getting me to the other side. I would say that. And it is really like a good, it is, while I look back, it looks like a fabulous journey out there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good evening. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.